The Highwayman. What is Highwayman? Highwayman is a highly versatile class that comes in terms of rogue, sharpshoot, and Yellowhand. All of them are very different, okay? You got Tanky, melee Highwayman, and ranged Highwayman. The game says how it has high damage, but I would disagree. I believe that Highwayman controls enemies the best in the game, and we're gonna explain how through his skills, and then it's the damage and riposte, as it says here. So let's go and let's cover all types of Highwayman in Darkest Dungeon 2. The first skill and the basic skill for the Highwayman would be Wicked Slice. Works on almost all positions, and it's basically an execution, okay? This is how you execute enemies on a death's door, bosses, and so on. Should you use this one for damage often? It doesn't deal that high damage, of course. It has a good crit chance, but the damage ain't that high, alright? Even with good trinkets, there are classes that do better damage, and there are skills, especially for Highwayman, that deal better damage than Wicked Slice. I use this one as a finisher, but of course the beginners will find this skill the most useful in the game at the start. Wicked Slice is valid on a rogue Highwayman and on Yellowhand Highwayman subclasses. Pistol Shot, the next basic ability, only this time it's ranged. It's completely valid on Sharpshoot and Rogue classes. For Rogue you need to be on spot number 2, and because it's minus 50 damage on rank 3 and 4, so you need to shoot from spot number 2. While if we have Sharpshoot instead of a Rogue here, this skill will deal 50% more damage. Duelist Advance, valid on Rogue and Yellowhand subclasses for the Highwayman. What it does, it's one of the best spells in the game, by the way, especially when upgraded. It gives you dodge, it gives you riposte, you're gonna deal damage non-stop with Rogue and Yellowhand Highwayman if you use this skill. It also moves you one space forward. Tracking Shot. This is probably the most useless skill in a game. Why? Because it attaches a blue skull, or better to say combo, on others, and I believe that this guy should deal damage, not debuff enemies and make combos out of them. Okay, he's wasting his turn if he goes like this. He also removes dodge, alright? But there are classes that do it better. This, I believe it needs a rework because it's completely useless, because other class do this way much better. So avoid Tracking Shot. If you really want to play with Tracking Shot, it can be played on all 3 subclasses. Sharpshoot, Rogue, and Yellowhand. Take Aim is useful on all subclasses: Sharpshoot, Rogue, and Yellowhand. What it does, it gives you crit, especially when upgraded. It gives you also dodge, it removes blind, it gives speed when upgraded. There are combos how you do it. It's very, very useless during the first map, starts being useful on the second map, extremely important on the last map and on the final boss of each chapter. Take Aim is mega late upgrade and mega late game for the Highwayman, no matter what subclass you play. Point Blank Shot, extremely good on a Rogue. As you can see, Point Blank gives riposte when you're a Rogue, and it also gives 50% damage on spot number 1, and this spell only works on spot number 1. I'll explain the full combo for it. This is the highest damage dealing spell for the Highwayman, best on a Rogue. It can be put on Sharpshoot also, but then that's a different kind of build. Completely not valid on Yellowhand, so only play this on a Rogue and Sharpshoot. Grapeshot Blast. This spell works on position 4, 3, and 2. It targets the first 2 spots for enemies. Very useless skill for all other classes except Sharpshoot. Sharpshoot gives Grapeshot Blast damage boost when you use it, and that's when it's valid. So when it says Sharpshoot here instead of a Rogue, that's when you're taking Grapeshot Blast. In all other cases, you should definitely avoid playing with this skill. Open Vein. This skill is only valid if you're playing Yellowhand instead of a Rogue. So if subclass is Yellowhand, this is when you're gonna use Open Vein. and you should always use open vein on marked enemies for a combo because you're gonna deal more bleed damage, especially as a Yellowhand. Double tap. This is execution, okay, but this is execution for a Sharpshot Highwayman, okay. Rogue and Yellowhand execute with Wicked Slice. They execute enemies on a death's door. Sharpshot uses double tap to execute enemies, and this is only valid on Sharpshot. Highway Robbery, the best skill for the Highwayman, no matter if it's Sharpshot, Rogue, Yellowhand, basic Highwayman, okay? It doesn't matter. This is the best freaking skill that he possesses. Highway Robbery works on 3 positions, last 3 positions, on the first 3 positions on enemies. What it does, upgraded, it steals enemies' tokens, it can steal dodge, it can steal armor, it can steal crit, it can steal riposte, alright? During the first map, it can destroy positive tokens from enemies. It's also valid during the first map. This skill works the best, absolutely the best, on Yellowhand subclass instead of a Rogue here. Why? Because Yellowhand has steal immediately instead of destroy during the first map without upgrading, okay? Completely valid and completely worth on all freaking classes for the Highwayman. The best, one of the best skills in the game, not only for the Highwayman, in the game. Double Cross, I would recommend this only for those that know how to play this game, because this can be a bit steep and you need good team composition to profit on this vulnerability that Double Cross gives, because it deals low amount of damage. You need to plan ahead, okay? And this one is valid on Rogue and on Yellowhand, completely not valid on a Sharpshot. So how do we play Rogue? These would be the 5 skills that you're gonna use from start to finish. Wicked Slice, Duelist Advance, Take Aim, Point Blank, and Highway Robbery. It says to go in position number 1, then Point Blank will give Riposte. So how do you open up? You put him on position number 1, he plays, you use Point Blank shot, okay. Now he switches to position number 2. You use Duelist Advanced, or you take aim. If enemies are not dangerous enough, you can take aim. Then you go into Duelist Advanced. He switches again to position number 1. This time he switches with dodge, with crit, with riposte. Okay? And you use Point Blank again. Alright. If enemies are way too tough after using Point Blank shot in the opening as a Rogue Highwayman, he moves on a position number 2. And then you destroy or steal positive tokens from enemies, and then you advance again up front. Once enemies are on a death's door, you always use Wicked Slice to finish them off. Sharpshot Highwayman, if it says Sharpshot instead of a Rogue here, this is the build that you want to play. You can also play like this. Okay, it depends from situation to situation, but this is what you change, this too. If you don't like being in a position number 1 as a Sharpshooter, if there is no one to defend position number 1, because it usually starts with a Point Blank, okay, he moves to spot number 2, and now he can use all of these skills. Alright, if you don't plan to use Point Blank, you go like this, and you put him on spot number 3 or 4. How do you play then? If enemies are, for example, way too tough, you're gonna use Highway Robbery, destroy or steal from them. Then you're gonna use Grapeshot Blast. Why? Because Sharpshoot gives damage when you hit enemies with Grapeshot Blast, and that means that pistol shot is gonna hurt even more. But there is also a combo when you open up with a Grapeshot Blast into Take Aim, and now you have damage and you have 100% crit chance, and on a third round, pistol shot will deal insane amount of damage. Once enemies are low enough, you can always execute them with double tap, because it ignores death's door resist. So you got utility, you got crits, you got damage as a Sharpshoot. This gives those 2 swords up, okay, only with that class, by the way. And you got single target shot, all positions are covered, you got damage on all 4 positions for enemies. That's how you play Sharpshot Highwayman. The last Highwayman subclass instead of a rogue is Yellowhand. When it says Yellowhand here, you're gonna open up from spot number 3. And now you got multiple things to do as a Yellowhand. Yellowhand is a bleeder, okay? And he debuffs enemies. He removes armor from them, he repasses, he destroys and steals positive tokens, okay? He bleeds enemies, he has riposte and dodge with Duelist advance, can go positions up front, and he executes enemies. So what is the usual way to play Yellowhand? You open up from position 3. There are 2 openings. One opening, if enemies are way too tough, is with a highway robbery. The second opening is with a riposte and Duelist advance, where he's gonna transfer on spot number 2, and now he'll be able to use all of the skills. Okay, you should always aim for bleeding, because this class was actually made for open vein build, alright? But first you need to debuff enemies and buff yourself up with these utility spells, Riposte and Distill. Once enemies are low enough, you execute them with Wicked Slice. Now, should you chase hero shrines and upgrade Highwayman? Yes, you need to do it as fast as you can, because you need to unlock all spells for the Highwayman to be valid with all subclasses or without subclasses. You just need all spells. It's simple as that. It ain't enough with what he starts. He starts with garbage basically, because these skills over here are the most useful, especially Highway Robbery. So, how do we play Highwayman? This is a rogue. I already explained everything that you need to do is open up with point blank, then you go into self buff, into destroy tokens, Duelist advance for a riposte, and then Wicked Slice to finish someone off. In the case of rogue, he will one-shot the first enemy in 99% of cases when he hits with a point blank.
Let us hope to finish this quickly.
If this one was a Sharpshot, okay, then he opens up with a Grapeshot Blast with this from position 2 or 3, doesn't matter. If he was a Yellowhand, he can usually open up with Destroy Token or with immediate Duelist advance from position number 3. He reallocates on position number 2 from over here to here, and then when someone has a combo skull, okay, he can use open vein. Good trinkets on the Highwayman. One of the very good trinkets would be Cleansing Claws. Very simple, you debuff enemies when you get hit, plus you riposte on them. Absolutely amazing trinket on a Highwayman. One of the best trinkets on a Highwayman would be Clarifying Carcanet, but you need to know what you're doing, because bubbles and relics need to be above 75. Now, kitchen knives, you need to have Plague Doctor in the team, so he puts Blight on someone, okay? And then you got 15% crit chance on that target. That's very good for a Highwayman. If you resist Blight, you also can get extra action, 20% chance, and you always gonna heal on crit. So, a bit tricky this trinket, but it can be very good on a Highwayman. Nautical Compass is absolutely amazing on the Highwayman, especially if you get crit chance, then it's freaking OP. Now, Curing Koopa, because you play with a lot of riposte as a Highwayman, especially as a melee Highwayman, there is a 33% chance that you're gonna poison enemies. Solid trinket for him. The Cursed Coin, absolutely the best trinket on a Highwayman, especially because of the Highway Robbery, because it gives 2 times riposte and 5% damage per positive token. Often it can happen that a Highwayman can have 4 to 5 positive tokens, okay? And that's a lot of bonus damage plus a lot of riposte. This is absolutely insane good trinket on the Highwayman. Snappy Swig, if your speed is equal or higher than 8, and that can happen easily on a Highwayman with correct in buffs, okay, during Respite, you get 50% chance for a crit. Absolutely insane. One of the best items on a Highwayman is Celebrated Chalice. It gives crit, it gives speed, and you only need to have relics and bubbles above 50. Enlightening Element is also solid on a Highwayman because you can make enemies burn with Riposte. It's non-stop hitting enemies, okay? And there is a good chance that you're gonna have speed above 8, so you're gonna get extra dodge, and you get dodge as a Highwayman also. That's gonna stack with dodge, with Riposte. This can be a very good trinket on him. Of course, Fisherman's Line. If you riposte, you have a chance to stun enemies if you can find Fisherman's Net. It's absolutely insane. Greater Gilded Mind, absolutely great on everyone, including the Highwayman. Greater Sacrificial Host, absolutely great on everyone, of course, including the Highwayman. Same can be said about Greater Anchoring Charm. I would avoid giving him 22% to max HP, even though it's good. Give him only if there's no one else to give to, but this goes to tanks, not to Highwayman. Same can be said about Greater Cleansing Sensor. Greater Bouncer's Belt is solid if you have a healer in your team, so you can heal your Highwayman more often. Greater Sharpness Charm is absolutely the best thing that you can put on a Highwayman. Now, Tormenting Locket is great on a Rogue and Yellowhand Highwayman. It's absolutely disgusting on a Sharpshoot, so be careful. This is extremely good trinket on Yellowhand. Alright. One of the very good trinkets also would be Greater Heartseeker, flat crit chance. Because you have Duelist Advance, and this gives dodge when moving, boots can also come well for the Highwayman. Now, this Butt Stressing Band can be extremely good if you get that crit and you got 10% chance to get it, but you can get vulnerable if you miss, so be careful how you play. Greater Wolf's Blood, absolutely great on every character, especially on Highwayman. Bulwark Band is also very good on a Highwayman. Now, what about low trinket tiers? Basically, anything that's gonna up his crit or up his damage is the way to go. You can always sacrifice health for that. Anything that's gonna up his stress resist is also very valid. Basically, what you should aim for are bleed resist, blight resist, burn resist, stress resist, move resist, debuff resist, crit chance, and flat damage. It doesn't matter what you're gonna put from those low tier trinkets, put whatever you like. Just do not go with minus chance to crit or with penalties to damage. Everything else is completely valid. Respite. What do we give to the Highwayman during ins and during Respite? Basically, it's simple. You give him food for the bonus on HP and every freaking item in the end that's gonna give damage, crit chance, dodge. That's what you should put on him, as well as those items that give stress relief and that enhance relationships between him and the other characters in a team, like for example a rose pick. Again, everything that has to do with crits, damage and dodge goes to him. Mastery Trainer, this is a bit tricky. If you play with Rogue, the first upgrade should be Point Blank, and then you should upgrade Highway Robbery. If you plan to play as a Sharpshoot, the first upgrade should be Grapeshot Blast, and then it should be Highway Robbery and Pistol Shot after it. If you plan to play as a Yellowhand Highwayman, the first upgrade should be Highway Robbery, and then it should be Open Vein. In case of a Rogue here, we're gonna upgrade Point Blank Shot. Remember that Highway Robbery is the most important skill maybe in the entire game. That's everything there is to say about the Highwayman. You need some hours to learn him. You need to master all of his abilities to play him the right way. I hope you find this guide useful, and I'll be seeing you on the next one.